Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Vexian, and today I'm going to be doing a Rainbow Six Siege thumbnail tutorial. I'm going to be showing you guys how to make the godly thumbnails or the Shima thumbnails, as they've been known by. So first off, you're going to want to launch Rainbow. You want to go to custom game, create a local custom game. I already have a playlist set up, but what you want to do is you want to set up a playlist, put Coastline in there. Everyone uses Coastline. Some people use other maps, but this is the best skybox in my opinion, and it's going to make for the best thumbnail. So once you have that playlist, open it up, create a player. Be on the blue team if you want attacker-sided thumbnails, meaning that you use attacking operators in the thumbnail. Orange if you want defender. For the sake of this tutorial, we're going to be on attacking. We're going to start the match. Now pick a character that's going to be the primary person you're using in game, or pick someone that you want to represent in the thumbnail. For me, it's going to be Ash Black Ice. The skin also matters. You want to have a nice flashy skin. Black Ice is pretty coveted. A lot of people want Black Ice, and especially for Ash. So, because I have it on this account, I'll be using it. Now, you're just going to pick whatever operator you want to be. It could be Ash, it could be Twitch, it could be IQ. And then, I have the shortest face time. You can do whatever, but I'll just skip until we're actually in the game. So now we're in the game, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to drop the diffuser. That doesn't really matter, but I don't like having the prompt on my screen. And we're going to come up here. And this is because this is where the nicest part of the skybox is, in my opinion, is up here with these birds. So you're going to want to shoot the gun a few times. And you're going to want to reload and screenshot at the same time. You can set up your screenshot bind by going into the overlay here. You can do it through settings. I have already done that. Mine is page down. Yours can be whatever you want it to be. But reload and screenshot. Once you have that, you're good to go. You can get a few more, but I already have a few. So we're going to exit out of and we're going to go to File Explorer. Once Rainbow closes down fully. And if you go to Pictures, you go to Uplay, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. It will be all the way at the bottom here. And here it is. So we're going to put this, for me I have a second monitor, so I'm going to put it over on my second monitor real fast and just keep it there. Next thing you're going to want to do is open up Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop, there's a ton of ways to get it for free. It's also pretty cheap. You get it for like $5 a month through the Adobe Suite. So what you want to do is you're going to create new, 1920 by 1080, create. So once you have this, you're going to want to have File Explorer open. You can open it by File Open and go to Pictures, Uplay, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, and drag it in here. So we're going to drag this one in here. This one's from an earlier session. I just like how this one looks. Or we can drag this one. We're actually going to use this one because I got the charm in here this time. So now we have this. This is a really good thumbnail. We're going to unlock it. You can also just drag it in from the File Explorer like I had previously opened. You can also just drag it in. But we're going to do it through this way. First thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the rectangle marquee tool. Come over here. Do that. I just like getting this out of the way. We're going to go fill. Content Acquire. So what I did is I made a selection around the timer and I filled it. I just don't like having it there. And if you do fill content aware, it's pretty good. Photoshop's actually a pretty good program. It understands a lot of things that you want to do. It does it for you right away. So here you go. Next thing you want to do is go here. This is the quick select tool. The settings I have for mine is size 30 pixels, hardness 100, spacing 1000. And you're just going to want to kind of click around and it'll select everything for you. Like I said, Photoshop's actually pretty smart. So it understands what's going on. And you can just select everything you want selected here, and it should be good. Now, if you have stuff like this, you can get that back later with more fine-tuning. It probably only is doing this right now, this second, because this part of the skin is very similar to this guy. So I'm going to press Control-D, and we're going to try selecting it again. Normally, I don't actually have this issue. I've recorded this tutorial 3 times now, and I've had to record it 3 times because I've messed up a few times with, say, the render quality and stuff like that. You can just grab it here. It really doesn't matter if it's messed up all that much. And see, now it's much, but yeah, see, now it's much better. I'm going to sit here and fine tune it. Like I could say drop the size of this brush here to 15 and come back in and tighten it up a lot more like that and be good to go. So now it's a lot more tighter, and then I just extend it, get the barrel here, and then there you go. You're also going to want to get these down here. Make sure you actually check all this because all this will actually affect it. So I'm going to come down here and select all of that. So now this is all one selection. Right click, select inverse. So now everything but this part of the selection is selected. You're going to go right click again. Feather. Give it a 2 pixel feather. This is not, this is a little bit more forgiving. So in case stuff like that does happen right there, and just on these tight lines, it makes it not as up against the gun, and it gives you a little bit of room to breathe, is the way I like to think of it. Now that you have that done, go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and then click OK. Press Control-D. And now everything but this is blurred. And this is pretty much how all the big YouTubers do their thumbnails for the most part. What you're going to do next is you're going to want to drag in a champion logo. Okay. Now this is going to come in as a smart object. This is just how I downloaded it. You can go find these if you go to Google and type in Rainbow Six Siege champion logo PNG. You can find tons of these everywhere. For the sake of the tutorial, that's what I did beforehand, but that's what you have to do in order if you want to find one. Double click this because it's a smart object. It's going to take you to the actual source of it. So obviously, we're not champion number 30. We're champion number 1, of course, for the sake of this tutorial. So we're going to fill, color, select the color. Okay, and there you go. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to do new layer, type number 1. Now, my my color for my text is black, so you're going to select that to white. So now I have this one here, and you're going to press Control-T on your keyboard, then Shift and Alt, drag a corner, and this is going to scale up proportionately all the way around to size, and then there you go. Now, unfortunately, I can already tell this image isn't really centered all that well, so I'm going to have to move the 1 over a little bit. You can do this by your arrow keys or by your mouse. I recommend doing the arrow keys. So there you go. Make it a little bit bigger. So Control-T like earlier, Shift-Alt, grab a corner, drag it, scale everything proportionately, and move it around. So now once you've done that, you have it in a place you want. You're going to rasterize type. By doing that, you right-click on the text layer, and you get that drop-down menu that you just saw, rasterize type. Now with this selected, hold Shift, press this layer with left-click, right-click, and then merge layers. So you have this here. You can drag this over here, and there you go. That is essentially how you do it. So we're going to delete this layer now because we don't need it. And we have this. So we're going to select this layer. We're going to make this a little bit larger. We're going to put it like at a tilt here, say like something like that. Do that. And then we're going to right click. We're going to go to blending options up here at the top. We're going to give it a drop shadow. We're going to have the drop shadow in like a negative 145 degree angle. Or my bad, a 145 degree angle. And use global light. It's going to be facing down this way. We're then going to use an outer glow. This is going to give it a nice little like glow effect, a nice little halo effect. You can mess up all the settings in here, but these are the settings that I'm using right now. Again, this is all personal preference. You can change this how you want. You can make this more. You can make this less. You can make it like that. It's up to you. You can remove the drop shadow, keep the drop shadow. It's all up to you. This is all personal preference here, but for our sakes, we're going to be keeping it kind of low, around 20, 30 pixels. Technique softer. You can do a lot more. You can do like an inner shadow, an inner glow, a stain, all these stuff, dude. Everything here does like a different thing. And that's all up to you. That's the beauty of Photoshop. So I'm going to do outer glow, drop shadow, and we're also going to do an inner glow and inner shadow, just default settings, just to give it a little bit more emphasis. You're not really going to notice this, but if you're going to sit here in Photoshop, you'll notice it. You might not notice it in the end product, but you'll notice it in Photoshop. Now with all that done, you're going to rationalize layer style. You're going to then hold Shift again, merge these layers like so. Now, one thing that I do that I don't think a lot of other YouTubers do is once you've done this, is I go to filter one more time, camera raw filter, and then I do stuff like color correction here. So most of the time, if I'm working with black ice or glacier, I drop the temperature down to a cooler temperature. This brings out the blue a little bit more, and I also raise the tint a little bit more, and that's gonna pop this out. But you don't want it too much, as you can see, it's starting to distort the sky into more of a shift it more into like a purpley hue. What you're gonna do there, in that case, you're gonna just bring it down a little bit so it's not too much. But this still pops a little bit, and this pops a little bit down here. This diamond chart for exposure. Mess with it here. I'm gonna up it a little bit so it's a little bit brighter. Contrast up as well, so it contrasts pretty well. Highlights, you can do whatever. Like I said, this is all personal preference. This is what I'm gonna be doing for this thumbnail, just eyeballing it, lowering everything so there's more contrast. Now clarity is kind of like these three are also very important. You want the clarity up a little bit, the vibrance up a little bit, and the saturation. So the vibrance is gonna be how vibrant everything is. The saturation is how saturated in color everything is going to be, and the clarity is how well you can see it. These help quite a bit, and as you can see, so here you go. Now without those, so Control Z, that's what it was out. That's the difference. As you can see, it's actually it's like a pretty big difference. Like here's the color correction. Here's the color correction. I'm gonna use the one with the color correction. It just looks nicer. The black ice pops more. The champion logo pops more. And after you do that, you go to File here, Export, Save for Web Legacy, 1920 by 1080. Now, if this saves, say, above 2 megabytes, which is the largest a file can be to upload to YouTube, you can go to a PNG compressor and you can compress the file. So for the sake of this, we're going to do R6 thumbnail tutorial PNG. Yes, I already have ones earlier. And let's just do 2. So this is my third take. So it'll be like 2. And then save it. And that's pretty much how you do it, guys. That's all there is to it. If this helped you in any way, let me know. I hope you guys can learn something from this. If you guys want thumbnails different than this that are more personalized for you, I can make tutorials for that. Also, I am the thumbnail designer for Shock, and I help Garfield as doc. So if you guys need help with thumbnails or just want to buy thumbnails in case you just don't have the program or you don't want to pay for it, I charge $2.50 per thumbnail. DMs are open on Twitter. Let me know what's going on. If this helped you at all, that's awesome. Let me know. You guys like the video? Like below, subscribe. That being said, guys, see you later. Peace.